Hello and welcome to the Student Association of Foreign Affairs at Linköping University. Our guest today is the former United Nations Monitoring, Verification and Inspection Commission in Iraq, Blix. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I will start with a straight question about the war in Iraq. Do you think it was right or wrong by the US to invade?
I think it was illegal, and I think it was unwise. They went in with the main argument that they should do away with, eliminate weapons of mass destruction, and they couldn't because they didn't exist. They argued that they wanted to establish democracy, and they tried to do it by occupation, and they certainly failed for a number of years, and we're now hoping that it will move in that direction, but at a very high price. The only real benefit I can see was that they succeeded in toppling Saddam Hussein, because he was a gruesome and brutal dictator. That was a good thing, but I don't think it justifies the war. There have been many other dictators in the world, and you do not start wars in order to get rid of them.
Yeah. So I will ask you a question about the UN, since a lot of critics says that the war in Iraq showed the weaknesses of the UN structure. Do you agree with that criticism?
Well, the UN does not have any army or military power of its own. The UN is a mechanism for the world to cooperate and to intervene against aggression, and the UN functioned as such a mechanism in 1991 when the Security Council took a decision authorizing intervention against Iraq's aggression occupation of Kuwait. But in this case, 2003, the US ignored the UN Security Council. They had hoped that the rest of the world would cooperate, but the rest of the world did not. There was very limited support for the action that they took. I think that in a way, the absence of UN support was a victory for UN. They refused to give a support which should not be given.
But but I mean the structure today with the Security Council, that is I would say a projection of the power relations after World War II.
Right.
What do you think about that structure? Is that a good structure to keep, or should we?
Well, you don't have a world government. I mean, if people say that you should take decisions by majority in the Security Council, and then expand the council to 15 members, and you would have some big powers there, but I don't think anyone is willing to have authorized or direct armed action by majority decisions in the Security Council. We are not at that stage yet. The world is rapidly integrating, but we have not come to that level of solidarity yet that you can confer the power on an organ taking decisions by majority. The same way about legislation. We cannot have legislation by the General Assembly by majority votes. We do not have sufficient confidence in each other yet. It may come, but it will take time.
Yeah. So, because one of the alternatives is that John McCain presented in his campaign, the League of Democracies, that you will have like a League of Democracies, and he said that the League of Democracies could act where the UN failed to act.
Yes, they can act for themselves, but they cannot pass legislation that will be binding on Russia or China. And very likely you would not have India and a number of other states either, so they can act between themselves. In the European Union, yes, you have a League of Democracies, and they also adopt legislation, and the level of confidence in each other is much bigger there. But globally, no, we are not. The world is not at that stage.
So a stronger militarized UN or world or League of Democracies is not feasible, or?
Well, the UN is very strong where the permanent members in the Security Council are agreed. Then they dispose together with a very considerable military power. But if they are not agreed, then it is not strong. And nor were they strong in the 1920s when the League of Nations were there. Even weaker. You tend to forget about the League of Nations, actually, and I think as students you ought to study what has happened, because the League of Nations was very, very weak compared to the UN. The UN has many defects and weaknesses, but you will see that there is a big evolution that has taken place from the 1920s.
I think I shouldn't say it since I'm an objective journalist, but I agree with you. And thank you very much for this interview. And this and other clips you can be seen at utpost.org.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.